Hello guys, welcome back to another video. And today we have one of my custom dinosaur figures, and it is actually a custom figure of Grumpy the T-Rex from Land of the Lost. Anyways, let's jump into this video. First off, I want to mention, I've never actually watched the movie Land of the Lost, but I do know about Grumpy and have seen some scenes from the movie. And I got this T-Rex figure and was looking to repaint it. And I realized that this looked very similar to Grumpy, and I felt like I was kind of tempted to do a repaint. Originally was not going to, but in the end I decided to do the repaint, and I think it came out pretty nice. But anyways, let's take a closer look at this figure. First off, looking at the head, a lot of detail. And yeah, I don't do washes and dry brushing on my figures too often, but some of the newer custom figures I've been doing it on, especially this one, just to get these colors, because Grumpy has some really layered grays and blues, so it's really kind of tricky to get that, so I had to do a lot of layering on this figure. But yeah, you can see that onto the face. I believe this is actually the Chap May T-Rex figure, which I've actually had another one of these in the past, which I turned into a Jurassic World Ultimasaurus. But this one, I don't actually have that figure anymore, but this one I decided to turn into Grumpy. So yeah. Also, it's a bit darker on camera because this has like the gloss finish on top of it, and the lights just kind of glare and make it look a little bit off, but yeah. Anyways, you can see down the body, a lot of detailing, a lot of paint. Down to the tail, where you can actually see a lot more of the blues popping down there. Turn it around. Also, very simple. It also has this little trigger to move the head up and down. On the underside, you can see that it's almost completely gray. Has surprisingly brown toenails and brown claws on the fingers. Back up to the head, gave it orange eye and a nice pink mouth with some bright white teeth. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this figure. And let's actually do a size comparison and measuring. First off, this figure measures in at, it's actually a really large figure, and it measures in at, I think, about 19 inches long, almost. Kind of hard to measure it. And in height, this figure measures in at about, well, 9 inches tall, maybe a little bit more than that. And if I actually measure it on an angle, kind of actually seeing the figure size, it measures in at, I can't really tell, like 19 or 18 inches long. So yeah, it's a pretty decent sized figure. Next, here's it compared to a Mattel human figure, which you can also see still absolutely massive. This would be one of the large Mattel figures. Anyways, to actually compare it to some things, here's it compared to a Jurassic World T-Rex, which you can kind of see these figures are somewhat similar in size. I think this is actually a little bit closer to the Extreme Chomping size range, which I'll actually go grab my Extreme Chomping T-Rex in a second, but yeah, you can kind of see. If held up in this direction, the Mattel Rex is way taller, but in length, these figures are pretty similar. Maybe like the Mattel one is about 4 inches longer, I'd say. Anyways, before I go grab the smaller Extreme Chomping T-Rex, here's it compared to the Ruthless Rampage Allosaurus, which it's like basically the same size of, except quite a bit taller. Otherwise, it's like the same length. Put the head down. Yeah, here's it compared to the Ruthless Rampage Allosaurus. And then let me go get me my Extreme Chomping T-Rex to compare it to. Anyways, here's it compared to my Extreme Chomping T-Rex, which I customized into the Camp Cretaceous Hidden Adventures Tarbosaurus. But that's beside the point. Anyways, yeah, it's very similar in size to this figure, except I think that the Extreme Chomping T-Rex is a bit longer. Yeah, this is one of my older customs. I definitely need to fix this one or redo it at some point in the future. Yeah, anyway, like one of the spikes fell off. I'll probably use a better technique to make the spines. But yeah, anyways, here's that compared to that. Now, that's pretty much it for this figure of Grumpy. And yeah, if you enjoy this figure and like to purchase it, I will put a link to it in my description to my Etsy, where you can actually pick up this figure if you'd like to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!